Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something pretty specialized. We're zeroing in on source material about just one company, but using it to understand something much bigger.
Yeah, it's a real deep dive into, believe it or not, customized packaging and manufacturing. The company is Taiba Packages, based out of Multan in Pakistan. Now, this isn't, an ad for them. Our mission here is to look at their specific operations, what they make, how they make it, and pull out insights about global supply chains. What it really takes for brands to deliver and where some of the, well, hidden talent in that chain actually is. We're looking beyond the product itself.
That's a great way to put it. Most people, I think, just see the box as, well, disposable, right? Something to recycle. But for certain goods, luxury items, high-value electronics, even regulated products like food or medicine, the packaging is absolutely critical. It's often the very first physical contact a customer has with the brand. It shapes perceived value, protects the item, sometimes across entire continents. And what's really fascinating with a company like this is the sheer level of specialization needed. Even for something that seems simple, like a box, becoming that indispensable link requires quite a specific skill set, especially for hitting global standards.
Okay, let's start unpacking that. How do they describe themselves? The sources say Taiba Packages is Pakistan's trusted name in customized packaging and printed box manufacturing. Interesting.
Okay.
So that phrase, trusted name, immediately signals, a certain level of established reliability, probably within their local or regional manufacturing scene first.
Exactly. And that local reputation, that established trust, becomes their foundation for going global. The material points out they are now exporting custom packaging solutions worldwide. That's not just marketing fluff. It signals a huge operational capability shift. It means they've figured out how to move from, say, just serving Pakistani businesses to meeting the complex demands, logistical, quality, even cultural nuances of international clients. That's a big jump.
It really underscores a key point about globalization, doesn't it? You've got these highly specialized B2B players operating from places like Multan, Pakistan, and their core mission boils down to ensuring that, as the source says, your brand deserves global presentation. They're the ones making sure the physical package lives up to the global marketing hype, no matter where the end consumer is.
Absolutely. And the location itself, Multan, is quite relevant contextually. It's in a region with a pretty well-established industrial base, especially in textiles and manufacturing. So you likely have access to a skilled labor pool, existing logistics networks, combine that with regional cost efficiencies, and it allows them to compete effectively, maybe even aggressively, against manufacturers in, say, Europe or North America. They become a very attractive option for global brands looking for that specific skill set, but also competitive pricing.
Right, that makes sense. And this deep specialization lets them go way beyond just generic boxes. Let's get into the specific types of boxes they focus on. The list is quite specific. Perfume boxes, gift boxes, suiting boxes, jewelry boxes, food boxes, and rigid boxes.
Yeah, notice those categories. They aren't random. These are all sectors where the packaging itself plays a huge role. It's about safety or perceived value or the overall consumer experience. It's integral.
So, like, for jewelry or perfume, the box has to scream luxury, right?
Precisely. A jewelry box needs to feel permanent, high quality, protective. A perfume box needs structural integrity for a fragile bottle, but also has to look stunning, premium. And then you have food boxes that brings in a whole different layer. Strict international standards for food contact safety, hygiene, maybe even barrier properties against moisture or oxygen.
So they're managing both aesthetics and, well, serious technical requirements. Risk and luxury side by side. The source also highlights their ability to produce luxury, rigid, and craft boxes. Now, rigid and craft sound almost opposite. Why offer both? What's the strategy there?
That shows real market understanding, I think. Agility. Rigid boxes are your classic high-end, non-collapsible structures. Think premium electronics packaging, expensive gift sets, maybe designer accessories. They convey durability, value.
Okay, that's the luxury end. So what about craft?
Craft paper, on the other hand, gives you that natural, often recycled, sometimes minimalist, eco-conscious vibe. Very popular with sustainable brands, organic products, that sort of thing. By mastering both, Taiba Packages can serve, the established luxury houses and cater to this growing market demand for sustainable, simpler presentation styles. It means they're not locked into one trend. It broadens their client base significantly.
That's a really smart positioning. They're not just makers, they're enabling different kinds of brands to reach their markets. Okay, to actually produce these different types, especially for things like food or high-end perfume for export, they must have some serious technical capabilities. Let's shift to how they achieve these results. What's in their manufacturing toolkit, according to the sources?
Right, well, the foundation seems to be in their printing tech. They offer both offset and digital printing.
Hmm.
Now, on the surface, you might think, hold on, aren't those quite different? Different machines, different processes, maybe even different skill sets needed.
Yeah, that's a good question. Why take on the complexity of running both? Offset is usually for huge volumes, digital for shorter, custom runs, right? Seems like managing both could be challenging.
It is complex, but it's about offering a complete solution. Offset printing is absolutely vital for those massive production runs. Think hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of boxes for a global product launch. You need perfect color consistency across every single box, and you need the cost per unit to be as low as possible. Offset delivers that. It's the standard for global brand consistency at scale.
Okay, so that covers the big brands, massive orders. Where does digital fit in?
Digital printing gives them flexibility. It's perfect for shorter runs, maybe for smaller niche brands, or for rapid prototyping. Or think about customized packaging, seasonal promotions, maybe even personalized boxes for e-commerce. Digital allows for that quick turnaround and variability without the high setup costs of offset. So by offering both, they essentially tell clients, whatever your need, whatever your volume, we can handle it. It makes them a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes strategic sense. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think, especially for the final product's feel and look. The premium finishing techniques. This is what separates a basic carton from something that feels, well, expensive. The sources list 3 specific techniques: gold foiling, embossing, and UV finishes. Yes, these are crucial. They're not just decoration. They actively build perceived value and differentiate the product on the shelf. Take gold foiling. It's not just printing gold-colored ink. It's applying a thin metallic film using heat and pressure.
So it has that real metallic shine.
Exactly. It catches the light, creates an immediate visual cue of luxury, opulence, essential for categories like perfumes, high-end cosmetics, maybe spirits.
And embossing, that's about texture, right? When you feel a raised logo on a box.
Precisely. Embossing creates a raised, three-dimensional effect on the paper or cardstock. It engages the sense of touch. Running your finger over that raised logo makes the brand interaction more memorable, more intimate. It signals quality, substance, attention to detail. Very important for luxury positioning.
Okay, foiling for shine, embossing for touch. What about UV finishes? That sounds more protective, maybe.
It serves both purposes, protection and aesthetics. A UV finish is a liquid coating applied to the packaging. It can be applied all over, a flood UV for a high gloss look, or just to specific areas, spot UV, to make, say, a logo or an image really pop against a matte background.
And how does the UV part work?
The coating is cured almost instantly using ultraviolet light. This creates a very durable hard finish. So yes, it protects against scuffs, fingerprints, maybe even a bit of moisture during shipping and handling. But it also dramatically enhances the vibrancy of the printed colors underneath. It gives that really slick, premium sheen. Combine these 3, the visual impact of foil, the tactile quality of embossing, and the glossy depth or contrast of UV, and you're creating packaging that truly elevates the product inside.
That breakdown really clarifies why these specific techniques are listed. It's a toolkit for creating perceived luxury. But all that beautiful finishing, all that precision, it has to survive the journey from Multan to potentially anywhere in the world. This brings us to maybe the most critical but least visible aspect mentioned: export-grade standards and export-ready packaging solutions. What does that really mean in practice?
This is the so what factor, the non-negotiable part, and it's where a lot of the hidden complexity and cost lies. Export Ready isn't just about making a strong box. It covers broadly 2 massive areas: logistical resilience and regulatory compliance.
Okay, let's take logistical resilience first. We're talking about boxes traveling potentially thousands of miles on ships, planes, trucks. What does that demand from the packaging?
It demands incredible durability engineering. Think about the stresses. Vibration on a container ship for weeks, potential impacts during loading and unloading, G-forces during air freight, the box structure itself, the glues used, the folds they all have to withstand this. It likely involves drop testing, compression testing, but also environmental resistance. A box made in Multan's climate might travel through tropical humidity in a container, then maybe sit in a cold warehouse in North America. It can't warp, the glues can't fail, the finishes can't peel. The rigid box has to stay rigid. The foiling has to stay adhered. They have to guarantee that performance under potentially punishing conditions.
Wow, okay. That's a whole layer of material science and testing. And the other part you mentioned, regulatory compliance, that sounds even more complicated, especially for things like food or cosmetics.
Oh, absolutely. This is a minefield, and it varies by region. If Taiba is making food packaging destined for, say, the EU or the US, they have to meet incredibly strict standards. We're talking about ISO certifications for manufacturing practices. Crucially, they need proof that the paperboard, the inks, the coatings, the adhesives, everything is safe for indirect, or sometimes direct, food contact. Specific chemicals might be banned in one region but allowed in another.
And for cosmetics, similar issues.
Similar, yes. Ensuring the packaging materials are chemically compatible with the product formulation inside. Meeting regulations like REACH in Europe, which restrict certain substances. Providing documentation, traceability, it's a huge administrative and quality control burden. This is often why major global brands outsource this. They rely on specialized manufacturers like Taiba to navigate this complex, constantly changing regulatory landscape for them. It's risk management.
It really drives home that the value isn't just in the fancy machines making the boxes, but maybe even more so in the deep knowledge of international standards, testing protocols, and frankly, paperwork.
Precisely. They're selling not just boxes, but compliance and guaranteed delivery performance. And just to round that off, the source confirms their location. Taiba packages, Multan, Pakistan, and even gives a direct contact WhatsApp now with the specific number.
Yeah, that WhatsApp number is a fascinating final detail, isn't it? It shows how seamless communication has become. This highly technical global B2B operation is reachable instantly through a simple app, bridges the distance right away.
So let's try to wrap up this deep dive. We looked closely at one specialized manufacturer in Pakistan, and what we found really is that the shiny surface of global luxury branding often rests on a foundation of incredibly specific technical skill located far from the end consumer. Mastery of things like dual printing methods, sophisticated finishes like foiling and UV coating, and perhaps most importantly, the unglamorous but absolutely critical work of meeting rigorous, expensive export-grade standards and navigating global regulations. Well put. And it leaves us with thought, maybe for you, the listener. The next time you buy something that feels premium, that comes in impressive packaging, whether it's that expensive perfume, a piece of tech, jewelry, even a specialty food item, just take a moment to consider how much of that perceived quality, that feeling of luxury or safety, is actually down to the hidden expertise of a manufacturer potentially thousands of miles away. Someone in a place like Multan, who mastered the very specific science and logistics of making that box not just look good, but survive the journey and meet all the rules. Think about how reliant major global brands are on these often unseen partners. Their knowledge underpins a huge amount of global brand economics. It's the hidden engineering of commerce.
A really compelling point about where value is truly created in the global chain. Great insight. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world behind the box. We'll see you next time.